Hello, folks. This is Kevin from Good Day, Good Prayers. I hope you're having a good day. I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 different things today. The first one I'm going to talk about 3 videos ago. I did a video that said how to grow economy, how to kill economy. Now, this particular video is the first 10 minutes of lectures that you would get if you were taking Economics 103, an introduction to economics. Now, that first 10 minutes is very important because the first thing it does is it gives you the most important thing to be able to grow economy. And then it gives you the one thing that will do the most to kill economy. Now, the reason that I did that particular video is because of the fact that I want you to have an opportunity to hear the truth. Now, if you went to a state school that is federally funded, especially 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, 50 years ago, whatever it was, you would have not heard that first 10 minutes. The reason you wouldn't have is because the people that were in charge at that time did not want you to hear the truth. And so that first 10 minutes that I gave you in that video is something that you don't know about. In fact, some of you who heard that first 10 minutes would say, well, I refute that because that's not true. But it is true. You see, the fact is that the truth will set you free. And in lectures, in college classes, that is the first 10 minutes that you will hear if you ever were in any of the classes that this guy here would teach. Because I will not run from those ideas. I will not hide from those ideas. When I went to economic training in the colleges, the first college I went to was a state-run, federally funded college. And everything was very generic. They didn't want you to know anything that would mess up their economy. They wanted their economy to be just so, and in being just so, you can't say anything that messes it up. Well, then I went to a private college, and I received the remainder of my economics education there. I was still a liberal at the time that I took that education, but I was very much enamored with what I was hearing. There was a great man who was the instructor of all of the economics classes, with the exception of 2 or 3. There was another man who taught those, and I liked him just as much. But Dr. Jack was a wonderful man. I always loved his classes. And he's no longer with us today, but he had an awful lot to offer to the human race in teaching economics. He did not let the fact that what he taught was not popular by the globalists. He didn't let that worry him. He didn't let that stop him. He continued to teach no matter what. And so that is what happened. And I'm very much like him. It was years later when I finally realized that being a liberal was the wrong side to be on. A lot of people don't want to tell you this, but when Project Looking Glass came out, there was a group of globalists that were very upset because they realized that according to the future forecast, they were not going to win. The Christian side was going to win. And they wanted to continue to be evil. They wanted to continue to do the awful things in this world. And they realized that they needed to have some help in order to win the day. So what did they do? They got over 200 scientists together, and they posed them the question, well, now according to Project Looking Glass, we are going to be defeated, but we don't want to be defeated. Now, we want to be able to continue to be evil. We want to continue to go against God. We want to continue to do all of these evil things. And now it is up to you to help us find out how we can do that. And you know what happened? After about a year or so of researching everything that those scientists could research, they finally came back to the globalists and said, you know what? According to the truth of everything that you can possibly know, good always defeats evil. You will never win. The globalists were so angry that they began to execute those people. Very few of them. In fact, there were a few high-profile people that they kept alive, but they put them in prison. One of them is very well known today, and I won't give his name. He can give his own name. He actually has a show of his own, and he can do that himself. I won't do that to him, because maybe he has decided that he doesn't want to give that information out anymore, and I don't want to give it out in place of him. But the fact of the matter is, good always defeats evil. That's why I am who I am. I used to be a liberal. I used to be a give 'em hell Harry Democrat. I used to believe that I was correct and that all of you who were conservatives were wrong. But guess what? I was wrong, and I owned up to it. I realized that I could never win, that I could never have the kind of life that I wanted to have for myself and my family until I became a conservative. People in church used to tell me and tell my mother, well, you know, how can you possibly be a liberal and call yourself a Christian? I didn't believe that at the time, but I believe it now. The day I quit being a liberal and I became a conservative, it was the day that God verbalized it very well. He yelled at me and he said, I told you to come out of that party. They are going to be judged. And it scared me. And that's what it took to get me out. Because I had been arguing with God himself for over a year. I actually had the audacity as a liberal Democrat to argue with God and tell him that he was wrong. What an idiot I was. When that shackle, that chain came off of me, I felt a freedom that I had never had before. Up to that time, I was a bound person. The devil had me in his chains, and he was in the process of destroying me. But thank God I am free. I'm free from this world of sin. I'm free from liberalism. I'm free from the Democrat Party. And I am a Christian today. And I've been set free. And whom the Son has set free is free indeed. Praise the Lord. I want you to have a good day, and I want you to be free from liberalism. A good day is always going to start with good prayers, and if they reach the throne of God, well, that's going to be your key. You are going to have a good day. And so, you know what? With that being said, you folks have a good day. Good day.